Ready? Is everybody ready? So do you guys remember when we talked about parallel lines and transversals? We talked about alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles, same side interior, same side exterior, and corresponding. So we're still dealing with all of those, but these are going to be our theorems reversed. So the converse of each one of our theorems. So what it's going to do is going to ask us to prove that the lines are parallel. And in that case, it's just saying, okay, if alternate interior angles are congruent, or if corresponding angles are congruent, or if alternate exterior angles are congruent, then my lines are parallel. Or if same side interior or same side exterior are supplementary, then our lines are parallel. So it's basically just backwards. It's not changing how you do anything. It's just changing how the theorem looks. So we're going to start with the first one. And that is the converse of the corresponding angles theorem. And that says if two lines are cut by a transversal so that corresponding angles are congruent. Part of my words are cut off here, so let's follow along yours. Two lines are cut by a transversal so that corresponding angles are congruent. Then the lines are parallel. Okay, if two lines are cut by a transversal so that corresponding angles are congruent, then the lines are parallel. So, for example, 1 and 3 are a pair of corresponding angles. 2 and 4 are a pair of corresponding angles. 8 and 6 are a pair of corresponding angles. And 7 and 5. So if I were to say any of those two angles are congruent, then I would be able to say that lines A and B are parallel. Okay? So it's just saying the same thing, but opposite. The next one is if two lines in a plane are cut by a transversal so that a pair, different pens, neither one of them want to work well, so that a pair of alternate exterior angles are congruent, then our lines are going to be parallel. Okay, so basically going through and saying everything that I said, that's what we're writing down. So if you have a pair of alternate exterior angles that are congruent, then your lines are parallel. For example, if 1 and 5 are congruent, then A and B are parallel. If 8 and 4 are congruent, then lines A and B are parallel. Then you have the same thing for your same side interior angles. If two lines in a plane are cut by a transversal so that a pair of same side interior angles are supplementary, then the lines are parallel. Okay, if a pair of same side interior angles are supplementary, then the lines are parallel. So for example, if 2 plus 3 equals 180, so angle 2 plus angle 3 equals 180, or angle 7 plus angle 6 equals 180, then lines A and B are parallel. That would work the same for same side exterior, but remember our book really doesn't talk about the exterior ones, so just keep those in mind. And then the alternate interior angles in a plane if two lines are cut by a transversal so that a pair of alternate interior angles are congruent, then the lines are parallel. So again, referring back to that picture, if 2 is congruent to 6 or 7 is congruent to 3, those are alternate interior angles, then my lines A and B would be parallel. And then we have the perpendicular converse, and basically that says if 2 lines in a plane are perpendicular to the same line, then the lines are parallel. Okay, if 2 lines are perpendicular to the same line, then my lines are parallel. Everybody ready? Everybody still asleep today? All right, so this one, it says, use the given information to determine which lines, if any, are parallel. And then it tells you to state the postular or theorem. I'm not going to ask you to state that, but I will ask you what kind of angles they are. So let's look. If angle 2 is congruent to angle 8, okay, everybody look at angles 2 and 8. I want you to decide, first of all, what kind of angles are they? Alternate interior, alternate exterior, same side interior, same side exterior, or corresponding? Alternate interior. So in order for those to be congruent, what 2 separate lines do they touch? A and B or L and M? Look at angles 2 and angle 8. Okay, I'm wanting to know what 2 lines do they touch that look parallel, A and B or L and M? A and B. Does everybody see angle 2 and angle 8? Here's angle 2, here's angle 8. They touch A and they touch B. So in order for those to be congruent, what lines would have to be parallel? A and B. And so this is how I want you to write it. You just write a little a. Your parallel symbol is like 2 slanted lines. And then B, a little b. Okay, so in these questions, and you will have some like this on your test next week, it's either going to be A and B or it's going to be L and M. Can A and L be parallel? No, why? Because they touch, they intersect, right? So you can't have those. So pay close attention to your picture, first of all, to determine which lines would be a possible parallel set. It's either going to be A and B or L and M. Okay, so I want you to look at 3 and 11. Angles 3 and angle 11. In order for those to be congruent, does anybody know what kind of angles those are? They're corresponding, yeah. Same side, yes, but if you look, angle 3 is inside, angle 11 is outside, so they couldn't be interior or exterior. That is corresponding, which makes them congruent. What 2 lines would have to be parallel in order for those to be congruent? L and M, yes. So we're going to put line L, a little l, parallel to a little m. Does that make a little bit of sense? Okay, then I want you to try the next one. 12 and 14. What lines would have to be parallel in order for those to be congruent? Look at your angles 12 and 14. Decide which 2 lines would have to be parallel in order for those 2 to be congruent. What do we think? A and B. And what kind of angles are 12 and 14? (12 and 14). Yeah, so alternate exterior. Yep, we got it. Alternate exterior, yes. Is everybody good with that? That's supposed to be a B there. My pen's just not on the right. Okay. I want you to do the same thing in the next three. Use the given information to determine which lines, if any, are parallel. What are your two options? What are the possible parallel lines? L and M or N and K. Okay, so those should only be the only kind of options. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a pair of parallel lines. I want you to try those, please. Your answers are either going to be none, L and M, or N and K. We should not have a combination of M and N or M and K or L and N or L and K because those touch. It's either L and M or N and K. Yes. Tanner, I need you to student affairs.
I gotta take my phone.
Just for a minute. All right, what about for 1 and 15? Look at that picture. Look at angles 1 and 15. Are they corresponding angles? Look at 1 and 15. Are they corresponding? No. Are they alternate interior? Are they alternate exterior? No. Yes or no? Yes? Okay, let's take a look. Angle 1 is, whoa. Stop moving. Angle 1 is here. Angle 15 is here. In order for them to be alternate exterior, yes, they are both on the outside, and yes, they are on opposite sides of the lines. But in order for them to be alternate exterior, they would have to be on the same transversal. Meaning, alternate exterior to 1 is either 11, or if you were to turn your picture sideways, let me show you. If I get my stuff to work properly, would be helpful. If I were to look at it sideways, what would be alternate exterior to that one? My transversal I highlighted. What's on the opposite side of that but on the other line? 7, right? The thing here is 1 is on this pair of lines, 15 is on this pair of lines. They don't share a line. Does that make sense? The line that they share is the transversal. In order for them to be alternate exterior, they have to be on a same transversal. Angle 1 is on line L. Angle 15 is on line M. Those are not the same transversals. So therefore, they are not alternate exterior, even though they are on opposite sides. They have no relationship. So therefore, we don't need any parallel lines for those to be congruent. Okay, so that one was a trick question. All right, what about 3 and 10? Look at 3 and 10. In order for 3 and 10 to be supplementary, which lines would have to be parallel? N and K, yes. N and K would have to be parallel there. So N would be parallel to K. And then what about 3 and 5? In order for 3 and 5 to be congruent, what lines would have to be parallel? Which ones? M and N? L and M. I'm sorry, I thought you said N. L and M, yes, that is correct. Yes. Is everybody kind of okay with those? I don't know. Y'all aren't saying much today. Okay. All right, let's take a look at that next example. Look at my pictures. I've got line D that cuts through lines E and F. They want me to find the value of V. What else do you notice in that picture? A right angle. Does everybody see your right angle? Mm-hmm. And we talked about that if one line was perpendicular, what about the other line? What is it also going to be? It's also going to be 90 as well? Mm-hmm. So in that case, what do you think 4V plus 10 should equal? 90. So to solve for V, we're going to have to set, because of the first right angle means the other ones are also right angles, we're going to have to do 4V plus 10 equals 90. I want y'all to solve that for V for me. Okay, all based off of that right angle that was given to you. And it was talking about in order for those lines to be parallel, both of them have to be perpendicular. What would I do first? Mm-hmm. So that's going to give me 4V equals how much? 80. And then I divide by 4. And V is equal to 20. Okay, I knew that simply because that right angle was given to me. Okay, I want you to solve for X in that next question. My question got cut off. It says find the value of X so that the lines are parallel. Okay, decide what kind of angle pair that is, and then what you would need to do to make the lines parallel. Would those two angles need to be congruent, or would they need to be supplementary? That's what you need to decide. Decide what kind of angles they are. Are they corresponding, alternate interior, alternate exterior, same side interior, same side exterior? Or are they vertical, or are they linear? What does that mean? Do they need to be congruent? Do they need to be supplementary? Hey, I'm going to study for just a second to see if Jamaya Leslie is in the clinic. What do you think? What kind of angles are they? Are they alternate interior? Are they alternate exterior? Are they same side interior? Same side exterior? Corresponding? And corresponding angles have to be congruent. So that means I'm going to take those two and set them equal to each other. So I'm going to take 6x minus 3. And I'm going to set it equal to 2x plus 1. And I'm going to solve that for x. I personally like to take the smaller x's to the larger. So I'm going to subtract my 2x over to the 6x. That's going to give me 4x minus 3 equals 1. Then I'm going to add my 3 over. That is 4x is equal to 4. Kind of running out of room here. And then I'm going to divide by 4. And so therefore x is going to equal 1. And again, those were corresponding angles. So that's why they are congruent. The next one is a multiple choice question. So what I want you to do is look at your picture. First of all, they give you a little too much information. You can choose which two to use. You have to decide what kind of angle pair they are so that you know whether you're supposed to set them equal to each other or you're supposed to add them and set them equal to 180. If you will, please go ahead and solve for that next example. Choose A, B, C, or D as your correct answer. Again, they give you 3 angle measures. You only need to use 2. You can choose which 2 you want to use. Decide which pair of angles you want to use, and then you have to decide what type of angles they are so that you know whether to set them congruent to each other or to add them and set them equal to 180. Again, they give you more than what you need. Wait, no. Personally, if I were choosing, which one do you think I would not use? Which angle do you think I would not use just by looking at the numbers? Yeah, I would not use the 152.4. That's just my opinion. That does not mean you have to, you can't use it because you can. So if I were to not to focus on that angle, okay, just because it's got a big number and it's a decimal, I don't want to look at that. What about the other 2 angles? What type of angles are they? Alternate exterior, which means they are congruent. Yeah, so I'm going to set 9x minus 12 equal to 4x plus 6. And I'm going to solve. That doesn't mean, again, that you had to use the same 2 that I did. You could have used the other angle. I'm just trying to keep my life simple. I don't want to have to deal with that big number. All right, I don't know off the top of my head what 18 divided by 5 is, but I know that it doesn't go into it 20 times or 100 times or 159 times, does it? So what is it going to have to be? Yeah, 3.6. I didn't have a calculator to do that, but I could just kind of guess from the answer choices. Make sense? All right. I am going to skip those last two. That's why I was just looking at them.